This is the vlog for January 10th, 2019, and I watched Hidden Figures right before I went to bed last night, which was very highly spoken of in 2016. It was nominated for multiple Academy Awards, and I enjoyed it. I think it was perhaps talked up a little bit more than I personally would have felt, but that is in part due to the contrast and similarities to one of my favorite all-time films, Apollo 13. Now, Apollo 13 was made 25 years ago. That's not right. It was 1995, so it's 24 years this year. And Hidden Figures is much more a story about what it takes for people working on the ground together to do something as complex as put a man into space. Apollo 13 is about people on the ground and people in space working together to get home after a catastrophe. And while I don't deny that there were powerful stories involved in Hidden Figures, the truth is a lot of that movie is actually fictitious. The dates are mostly wrong, in fact. Dorothy was actually a supervisor since the 50s, not becoming one in 1961. John Glenn was being portrayed as about 10 years younger than he actually was when he flew around the Earth in Friendship 7. He was only ever scheduled for 3 orbits. There was no accident that caused him to have to abort the extra 4 orbits. There's just a lot of stuff about that movie that isn't necessarily true. And I know that with movies like these, that's not necessarily a deal breaker, and sacrifices need to be made to tell a compelling story. But the attention to detail present in Apollo 13 is incredible, in part because it's based on a book written by Jim Lovell, who actually was one of the astronauts on board Apollo 13. And Ron Howard's technical expertise at shooting a film like that, and the focus of the events, the moment to moment, really, all the things that could go wrong, all the things that did go wrong, the things that went right, all coming together in something magical to me. But the problem with Apollo 13 is that there's almost no black people in it. And there should have been some black folks present in, ground control, I assume. Certainly if they were working as far back in 61, they should have been still working there in 1970. And while we didn't have any black astronauts in the space program at that point, it is a unfortunate truth that Ron Howard simply didn't have, except for a handful of momentary character appearances of black folks. There just weren't any. And so I think that Hidden Figures is very important for helping open the eyes of what it was like in that era, because as we get older, as people like me who were born after the Civil Rights Movement get older, it becomes easy to forget all of the miracles that happened in the process of people asserting themselves in the face of oppression, prejudice, discrimination, and the magical things that we can achieve when we work together like that. And that's commendable. I'm still going to prefer Apollo 13, partly because I went and saw that movie with my dad in 1995, and I was only 14 years old, and it was something special. Book's not done yet. I'm going to be probably writing the last chapter tomorrow, and then I'm going to go over it, read the whole thing from start to finish to get a feel for it. And the only other thing I did today was take a whole bunch of stuff down to the storage place. So I'm starting that process as well. And probably in the next few days, we're going to get the truck and put a whole bunch of stuff in there. Until then, this is Commander Eric Spornitz of the spaceship Dream Hunter, signing off and reminding you that tomorrow will be better.